Friends.
We've already introduced Natalie to Steve Mills.
Hi.
Who
Yes.
just dropped in again.
Hi,
And,
Natalie.
Hi.
I was just
Talking about the spiritual influence of the Dubé space here with Natalie.
Yeah.
But we were
With
saying
the
that
flow, you know.
All about the flow.
more than any other single juggler, he is, and I'm not saying it's because he's on camera. He
How
is.
high
He
is
is
this
the
room?
most responsible for me being in this business. A lot of people don't really know that. When I started making equipment, there were very, very few people around doing anything. Jay Green, who had decent equipment, but it was taking months and years. And Steve was frustrated like many people. And he kind of took me under his wing. He said, if you make a club that's decent that I can use, I will help promote it. And he did. That's it. I was obsessed with the Carlo book, the juggling book by Carlo. And that guy was not that great a juggler. And I used to go to Steve Mills and challenge him, okay? So one day I go in, and Steve said, when you stop reading that book, you'll start becoming a better juggler. And I said, well, Carlos says, let me finish. Carlos says, can you see how many throws you can do with your eyes closed? So I'm thinking maybe he can do 2 or 3. So what he does is his entire routine with his eyes closed, including a Mills mess. And I think he even got it behind the back.
Mills mess with your eyes closed?
Yeah, right. He did a whole routine, including like some kind of wild catch. And then I realized he was right. I put the book away and I started listening to Steve and not reading the Carlo book. He's a
Hang used to be good.
Yeah. No, he did a whole routine and he even did like some kind of wild catch, you know.
That was good. I can only cascade with the eyes closed.
You know,
I can't.
And
look
what I
at
like about Carlo's book is he says that he never ever juggles with his shoes
shoes
on.
off, yes.
And then you look on the back cover. What does he have?
The shoes off.
Shoes on.
Yeah.
He has his shoes on.
Shoes off.
No, they're on.
Oh, they're on. You're right.
He says
You're
he
right,
never
right.
juggles with his shoes on in
Right.
the book
Yeah.
because it's bad karma.
right.
And you go to the back of the book as you're putting it
Yes,
down.
it's bad.
He's standing there juggling with his shoes on. You gotta love it. You gotta love the guy.
We talk about the Carlo book because actually most people of our generation use that book to learn. People like Penn Jillette, Penn and Teller, there were tons. But
Was that before the Klutz book?
Yeah, it was. It was the first decent book for the recreational juggler.
That's
that
just a
had come
claw,
out.
but you're just really doing it hard. Okay.
But Steve was, I was saying before, Steve was really the first new juggler of our generation to really get into juggling. He was the from everyman. He was an everyman's juggler. Basically, he started juggling as a young kid. He wasn't from a circus tradition. He wasn't from a theater tradition. He didn't have a father that taught him, like Romano Frediani, who's an 8th generation juggler. This was just a kid that was juggling, influenced by people
I had to
like
learn
Ron
with
Graham.
sticks that fell off a tree in the fall. We were so poor.
It wasn't quite that bad, but
It was actually.
it wasn't that bad actually. But then when I first started making equipment that he liked, he took me to the Lions All-Star Circus. He introduced me to some pro jugglers. That was very exciting for me. And they saw that I was enthusiastic about everything. I was serious about everything. And the business took off very rapidly because basically there was a huge demand for the product. Nobody was making it.
And Brian was a long-haired, hippie
Yes.
leather guy.
Yes.
But
Yeah,
a beautiful girl named Rose that I was so in love with. And found out that here you could have her niece.
That's true, actually. A little known tidbit that he started dating my girlfriend's
And that's how we
niece.
got really.
Yeah, that's how we got really friendly because we used to actually spend holidays
And he was
together all the
Brian
time.
Dube, and I said, "Well, that's not classy. You know, you can't sell Dube clubs. You know, people would rather export contraband in tubes, right?" So I said, "You should, right?"
Yeah.
We went to, and we made it Dubé. It was Dubé and Mills, and I said, "No, I don't need the money."
That's a little bit messed up. But my girlfriend's family lived in New Jersey. He lived in Morristown. So when he started dating her niece, she lived in Jersey, and we would go out to Jersey. So it was all, and he'd come into the city. He was really one of the first, I think, the first really successful street performers in the city. Nobody's going to give him that credit. But I remember him coming to my house one day. And we counted literally $500 in change. Now this was
No, $780 in one hat.
$780 in one hat. Okay, $780. This we're talking like mid 1970. People
Yeah,
don't even
wow.
make that kind of money now. It
Yeah,
was
we
enormous.
put it in 3 different.
Yeah, we had a
hats.
floor covered with change. It was
Yeah,
mind blowing.
we emptied out the one. You remember that?
Yeah, it was online. It was truly mind blowing.
That was.
I mean, but he really knew how to work the audience. People really enjoyed his show. And again, I think he pioneered a lot of ideas that people use today, and he doesn't get credit for it all. It's really lost. If I told people the kind of things I feel he pioneered, they probably would say, well, yeah, I saw someone else do it. But all those people came after him. He really was on the forefront of juggling in many, many different ways, as a street performer, as a technical juggler. He was also very accessible. You know, people could meet him, see him at conventions, unlike professionals like a Chris Kramer type. You never get to see the guy. And those guys would meet Steve and they'd think it was weird. Like, wow, why would a guy do it for fun? Those guys were, it was a business for them. And then at the end of the show, that was it.
I met Chris once.
Yeah, that was it. You know, he never understood. He used to come here, Chris
You're
Kramer,
really
Francis Brunt, and they'd think, wow, this is nuts.
Yeah.
This is nuts. Why would you do this
But
for
Francis
fun?
was the nicest man in the world.
He really was.
Just
He was
gave.
yeah, very generous. Take out a whole bunch of jugglers that he didn't even know and pay for the whole
Let's
thing.
all go for dinner.
Yeah.
Hey, and,
Yeah, he really was a wonderful guy. But still, it was more of a profession. He was fascinated with our side of it, this new recreational juggler. And
Hey,
he
you know
didn't
what's
put it down.
amazing?
He just was surprised.
I have this new site called called millsmess.com. Did you know about that?
No, that's a really good.
Millsmess.com.
Tell him about this.
Nice,
And
nice.
Mills, it's all about the Mills Mess, and it's links to
Good.
great Mills Mess patterns.
Good.
And you know what's really cool? There's a PayPal button.
Okay.
Where you actually have $1
All right.
to the Steve Mills Mess Fund.
And we got who we got today.
That's
here? We got your
royalties.
mother. I met you a
That
long
is
time ago,
my-
right? I don't think
My mother.
Yeah, you've been to my house, I think.
Yeah, and then his wife.
My wife, this is Carol.
Right.
Yeah, I remember them all juggling in my house.
Oh yeah.
That's my street performing partner. We made 700.
Yeah, when they met, I believe she was already quite an accomplished unicyclist, right? That was part
Jumped rope on the unicycle.
Oh, jump rope.
On
Yeah.
the time.
Yeah.
On the tall one.
Yeah.
That's hard to do because it's
Yeah, no,
really hard
she-
to get that first pass
Do you know?
over.
Do you know what happened?
She was an expert unicyclist.
You probably
the
don't know
best
this, but
around.
at Father Demo swear they redid it.
Yes.
So they took it all apart down here where we performed.
Uh-huh.
And Francis Brunn and Natalie came and they sat.
Well, they laid down right in the
They
front.
sat down, like laid down on the ground and watched the whole show. It was like the most awesome thing to have Francis
To have him
and
watch.
Natalie all snuggled up together,
That's
cheering you
crazy.
on and coming up and hugging you afterward and going to make. But I went to that square when they took it apart.
Yeah.
And I worked out the stone, one of the stones, this big, thick, it was heavy. So I had to carry it all over the city that day, but I brought it home where Francis sat.
In our
And it's in my backyard.
Oh, nice.
And it's my
Wow,
most
cool.
cherished.
Very,
Matter
very, very
of fact, I tried to get into a 10-foot unicycle picture. I had it worked in, but didn't get in the photo. I was going to point to the rock. you know,
Steve
that's-
had quite a bit of contact with Francis, as did I. He was very, very accessible, and I think he really respected, young jugglers. It was just different for him, but he'd come here and go, "This is crazy, Natty, crazy! Look at this
And
stuff."
the other
He couldn't
one was-
believe there was like an empire, built on the sale of juggling.
Built on Mylar.
Another big influence me that
And
one too
Mylar.
was his friend Lee Petit.
Yeah, exactly.
And we met him in we were eating hamburgers when Philippe Petit came over from France, and he had all the plans to do the World Trade Center, and he did it within that week.
Mhm.
Is when he came over, and I'm going to do this, and I went home and remember, Philippe said this, and she was, no.
So you were.
Here's this guy one morning, she wakes up, the guy you said, Philippe Petit.
So you actually knew about this before?
Yeah, I
didn't
know all
know
the
that.
plans.
You must have been one of the handful of people in the world.
Yeah, very few.
Nobody knew
I
about
realized that very few people knew. After I didn't know how big this was until I saw the movie. I knew the plans, and I saw his sketches. I saw
6 years of planning.
I saw everything less than a week before he went out.
Wow.
About a week.
I did not know that. Here,
Yeah.
it's a
Yeah.
live scoop here. Something I did not
Yeah,
know.
I was in on the
Steve
Philippe
knows
Petit plan.
Yeah, he was in. Maybe you
He
can do
was
a
even
little-
asking, different things about, New York and how to avoid certain things. He's
Yeah.
still in that stage of asking around, trying to find out.
Sure.
Because he wanted to pull this off, and it was huge.
That's I think one of the greatest stunts ever accomplished.
Yeah,
The greatest.
And not anything anybody could do now post 9/11.
Oh, well,
Forget
yeah,
about
well,
it.
especially-
It's ridiculous.
Yeah. I mean,
Maybe even better now. I think Philippe should come back and copy the new one. Philippe Petit to the new building.
If there's anybody that can do it, he can. He's a pretty
Yeah.
crafty guy. He's actually an expert pickpocket, which people have seen his routine.
Oh,
And
really?
he's written a book on it in French, so he's a pretty sneaky guy.
Oh, he'll
Is
go
anybody
down.
gonna get in
He'll
there?
walk down the street in New York, and he'll take a person's wallet and say, "I'm sorry, sir, you dropped your wallet." And they go, "Oh, thank you so much," and they want to give him money. No. So he goes in front of them, right, to where the people can see, and he goes, and he takes their wallet, and he goes, and then the guy's trying to give him money. He's going, no. And he's doing this down the street while he's walking. He's running. He's very, Philippe is. He's very fast. He's like running, and it's just,
Does he ever give the money back?
always, he always
He gives it
everything
back every time,
He,
yeah.
he's entertaining. Everybody starts watching, and he does this. and people like gather around, they want to just see, you know, so he's-
What he does.
He has probably the greatest presence on the street of anyone I've seen.
He just has to stand and
That's right,
he's-
exactly what I was gonna say. People will scream and yell to get a crowd. Philippe never had to do that. And some people say, well, it's because they knew he was. No, a lot of people didn't. It's just he has an aura about him and a sense of
You
seriousness.
didn't have to know him.
You knew that this was going to be the
Yeah.
real deal. You don't know what the deal is even.
No.
But by the time he was through drawing his chalk circle, he had a crowd of a few hundred.
The only other guy I
without
heard,
without saying a word.
the only
It was
other thing I
amazing.
heard about that was like him on the street was the Great Banana.
I don't know.
And he would announce it, I am the Great Banana. And he was so sincere that everybody gathered, and he'd never do anything. He goes, you know, I guess the whole thing was, you just met me, you know, it's just, and he gathered the whole crowd. People look at him and he'd say, you know, take my photo.
It's really worth it for any
Yeah.
juggler to watch Philippe and you know, see what can be done.
Oh, yeah.
He was strictly with attitude. I mean, he has the ultimate attitude, really, and he's also extremely entertaining. People really enjoy.
He's
him.
very talented, very entertaining,
Yeah.
but it is the one single thing he has, his sincerity and
Yeah.
that he's like a living legend. When
Yeah.
you don't know him, you look
Yeah.
at him and go.
Michael
"This guy."
Motion also has that kind of presence.
Yes.
The woman that used to work for me used to tremble literally when he would come in. He would be that, you know, such an imposing character. And he was a man that was strictly, you know, he had a certain sense that he knew what he wanted in life and business, and he'd just come in. There was never any dilly-dallying, no chit-chatting much.
Yeah.
He'd get what he wants and he's gone. But again, when he entered a room like Philippe, it's like, you know,
Yeah.
you knew somebody had come in that was important, and they didn't have to say anything, just like
Yeah.
Francis, you know. These people are really, Francis is one of the most intense jugglers probably ever lived. From what I've heard, his practice routines are ridiculous from early morning to early
Oh,
night.
to watch him.
Meticulous,
Did
just
you
meticulous.
ever get to see him rehearse?
Yeah, many times, yeah, with that, meticulous.
It's incredible.
He'd have a
Yeah.
line of ballet slippers on their feet, get a little damp, he'd switch to the next
Yeah.
one. His assistant would drop a ball, it wasn't cleaned properly, they'd throw it back, he'd yell at him, throw it back.
Yeah,
I mean, it was
bam.
brutal.
You know,
It was
just throw
brutal.
it. Yeah, if it wasn't thrown hard
With
enough.
that finish though, he prided himself on his assistant delivering those products,
Oh, yeah.
throwing to him as quickly as humanly possible, and that was part of the trick, is to get into that run finish
See him
as
work-
fast as
did you get to see
possible.
him work with Sasha?
No, I don't think I ever did.
Oh. When he worked with his wife, oh, yes, and she was, I mean, as sincere throwing the stuff as he was doing it. I mean,
Yeah.
she was.
Well, yeah, when you watch it, I mean,
Well,
it's,
the
it's an
Jack-
act itself, just getting the props to him the right way.
The Jack Benny clip is one of the few
Yeah.
things out there, but it's worth seeing because you do see
one
him
of
at
the
a
first
you know
things I
very
ever
skilled
saw.
routine, and it's his sister Lottie said that was he never would allow somebody to make fun of him or do something like that on stage, but he liked Jack Benny so much that he agreed to that. That was unusual for him. And one
Yeah,
of the
that was
things
it's a
available.
little.
It
Yeah,
was very atypical.
I tried to get him to go to like IJA, and
Yeah.
he would just laugh. And
Yeah, he never wanted to go. Unlike Chris Kramer, he never actually got involved with the juggling community.
I see no purpose. I don't even think they would care.
Yeah.
They wouldn't even care. He says, I see no purpose.
Yeah.
Why would they care?
That's today for Steve anyway. So thanks for all you guys coming. That's it. Going to be on tape. So.